Were you surprised at how resilient this market's been in what is just a horrific thing that we're seeing over in Ukraine?
I'm surprised in the sense that, yes, there's a big geopolitical crisis going on and the market's been resilient. But what we've seen so far is that it hasn't been necessarily contagious to the U.S. economy and U.S. markets. And you have to remember, you can't take these things and ignore what happened with Jerome Powell yesterday. There was a huge uncertainty taken off the table. We were still questioning what the Fed would do in March, how quickly they would do it. He basically confirmed for us what they're going to do, how they're going to start it, and the chance that they'll go after it bigger in May or June if they need to. So I think taking some of those uncertainties off the table is a positive. And also remember, we've had a pretty big flush so far this year. So another uncertainty or another risk that was hanging out there was valuations. Look at where we were on January 3rd. Valuations were still so high, they posed a risk to the market. Now that risk has come back down off the table. We're closer to the 5-year average, at least in the S&P.
And the averages don't really show you the underlying pullbacks we've seen in a lot of the high flyers, too. I mean, it's a lot more than 10 or 15%. And it's been sort of rotating, and there's been a lot of damage done there. Or you can view it as damage or maybe a consolidation.
That's right. Well, and the other thing that I keep saying, I've said this a few times on Twitter and in other places, that just because the market's up doesn't mean that we're out of the woods, doesn't mean that everybody is suddenly bullish. We saw surveys of bears outnumbering bulls for the first time since 2020 last week. And then you've got to look at where the VIX still is. With the VIX still close to 30, that tells me that the market can't really decide which direction it's supposed to go over the next month. Now, I think because we have this uncertainty about the hike off the table, we're going to get 25 bips on March 16th. That helps a little bit. But we do have to wait and see what happens in Ukraine and what happens with oil prices. I think oil prices pose the biggest risk to this market right now.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.